Aramark has apologized for this, but who has made this change? Now, it also, we look and see back in February 2018, Aramark made a similar mistake. They served a meal at New York University in honor of Black History Month that included barbecue ribs, cornbread, collard greens, and Kool-Aid, and watermelon flavored water. Okay, so here we have watermelon again. Now, if I want water, I don't want watermelon flavored water. I want water. I want H2O. Okay, so how they get watermelon flavored water? Now, Aramark is based in Philadelphia. I don't know if it was the same employees in 2018 who did that did it February 1st, 2023. I don't know, but it's the same company. Okay, it's two different states, but still. Oh, I'm sorry. It's in the same state. It's in the state of New York. It's in the same state. I don't know if it's the same employees, but still you see this theme of watermelon. So where is this coming from? Now, there's nothing wrong with eating watermelon. Watermelon dates back to ancient Kemet, ancient Egypt, 5,000 years ago. Okay, there's nothing wrong with eating watermelon.
Folks, welcome back to The Culture. I wanted to talk about a story that has gotten some attention. This story is out of the state of New York, talking about the global food vendor Aramark and how they are now embroiled in controversy around cultural sensitivity. Here's the story, folks. Aramark has apologized after they served middle school students in New York State chicken and waffles with a watermelon dessert on the first day of Black History Month. Chicken and waffles. All right, let me share with you what the Griot reported about this. Take a look at this here, folks. Aramark, this global food vendor, they apologize. And as a global food vendor and food vendor that serves schools and other institutions around the world, they issued a statement on Thursday of last week acknowledging the mistake in a letter to parents. Now, they said, according to the statement, while our menu was not intended as a cultural meal, we acknowledge that the timing was inappropriate and our team should have been more thoughtful in its service. This was a mistake and does not represent the values of our company, and we are committed to doing better in the future. Now, according to the principal at Nyack Middle School, David Johnson, Mr. Johnson, which is about 30 miles north of Manhattan, Mr. Johnson said in the letter that Aramark changed the scheduled menu without running it by school administrators, as reported by Lohud. He said, quote, "We are extremely disappointed by this regrettable situation and apologize to the entire Nyack community for the cultural insensitivity displayed by our food service provider." He said, "I am disappointed that Aramark was served items that differed from the published monthly menu, especially items that reinforce negative stereotypes concerning the African American community." Interesting. They serve chicken, waffles, and watermelon the first day of Black History. All right, folks, let me just ask you this question. First and foremost, do you think Aramark was wrong? Let me ask that. Do you think Aramark was wrong? And then the second question I have for you is chicken, waffles, and watermelon, is this still offensive to Black people? Should we be offended? Now, I've migrated to Los Angeles, folks. And I have to say, like in Baltimore, we didn't have a lot of chicken and waffle spots. Here in Los Angeles and California, you know, Roscoe's, and you got a lot of other chicken and waffle places. You can find chicken and waffle places in Inglewood and Beverly Hills. So I'm not sure if this is considered to be culturally insensitive. I'm not sure. That's why I'm so happy to have my brother joining me in this conversation. And of course, I want to hear from you folks, my online culture crew. But we're going to be joined now by my brother Michael Imhotep, who serves as the host of the African History Network podcast. And you can find the work that he's doing on AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. And you can definitely check out him on RMU Roland Martin Unfiltered. Brother Michael, good to talk to you once again, sir. Good afternoon.
Hey, Farajii, and happy Black History Month as well.
Happy Black History Month as well, brother. All right, Brother Michael, you've done, now part of people don't know, I mean some, but not everybody may not know. Mm-hmm. You're a historian, you're a researcher, but you also worked in business. You worked in marketing.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? My degree's in business administration, yes. Taught entrepreneurship for 7 years, managed business consulting companies, yes.
All those things, right? Big companies, small companies, Black owned, all that good stuff.
Yes.
All right, so is Aramark wrong? Is this a case of Aramark just being culturally insensitive, or is there something else that we're not seeing here?
Well, it's culturally insensitive to do that, especially on the first day of Black History Month, or African American History Month, as the name has been changed to by ASALH, Association for the Study of African American Life and History. Now, it's we have to determine whether this was an accident or intentional. Now, if we look at the article from the Washington Post, schools vendor served chicken watermelon at start of Black History Month from February 6, 2023. It says that the New York Middle School on February 1st was scheduled to be served cheesesteaks, broccoli, and fruit for lunch. Cheesesteaks, broccoli, and fruit. But somehow it changed, the menu changed to chicken, waffles, and watermelon. Okay. Now, one of the questions I would ask as a vegetarian, okay, where are the vegetables? Number one, you serving this for lunch. Where are the vegetables? Number one. Okay. Number two, who was it who made this change? Okay. Now, Aramark has apologized for this, but who has made this change? Now, it also, we look and see back in February 2018, Aramark made a similar mistake. They served a meal at New York University in honor of Black History Month that included barbecue ribs, cornbread, collard greens, and Kool-Aid, and watermelon flavored water. Okay, so here we have watermelon again. Now, if I want water, I don't want watermelon flavored water. I want water. I want H2O. Okay, so how they get watermelon flavored water? Now, Aramark is based in Philadelphia. I don't know if it was the same employees in 2018 who did that did it February 1st, 2023. I don't know, but it's the same company. Okay. It's two different states, but still. Oh, I'm sorry. It's in the same state. It's in the state of New York. It's in the same state. I don't know if it's the same employees, but still you see this thing with watermelon. So where is this coming from? Now, there's nothing wrong with eating watermelon. Watermelon dates back to ancient Kemet, ancient Egypt, 5,000 years ago. Okay, there's nothing wrong with eating watermelon, but there has been a racist trope which has attached African Americans to watermelon, even though basically all races of people in the United States eat watermelon. Okay, and what happened was, after emancipation, after slavery ends, chattel slavery ends in 1865, after the Civil War and 13th Amendment, ratified December 6, 1865, watermelon was a crop that we grew, that African Americans grew, that was associated with our self-sufficiency. And then, as a backlash to that, white Southerners are then going to project it as a racist trope. Okay. So the racist trope has dominated in the media, in culture, things like this, minstrel shows, etc. And a lot of us don't understand this history behind it. And then in 2011, when students at the University of California at Irvine were served chicken and waffles on Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day in 2011.
By Aramark.
By Aramark. Aramark said his managers and chefs would complete cultural sensitivity training. And that was reported by the Los Angeles Times. So I keep seeing chicken and waffles. I keep seeing this pop up. So I don't know if it was intentional, February 1st, 2023, but we do see a pattern here.
All right. So, Brother Michael, you pulled off the receipts. You laid out the pattern. What's your assessment? What's your final judgment? You think this is all intentional?
February 1st, 2023. I don't know if it's intentional, but I'm still trying to find out who made the decision to change the menu. So so hypothetically, it could have been some employees who did it intentionally, and the higher ups at Aramark didn't know it. Okay.
Right. Which is possible. Let's just say this, because like any company, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have different levels of management, and then of course you got the CEO. So the CEO is not going to be in on every single decision,
right?
Especially if the CEO is saying, "Okay, this is one of our clients. What's the menu? The printed menu says cheesesteak. Okay, fine. That's just, you're not thinking about it." And I'm just saying that as from a business perspective, you're not thinking about, oh, okay, let me see what they're serving black people on February the 1st. Now, okay, fine. If they didn't serve that on, since they served that, if a couple of things. If they would have served the cheesesteak and say on the 3rd or the 4th day of the month, they served chicken and waffles, would it have been such an issue?
Well, I still have a problem with chicken and waffles for lunch in the first place, feeding at the children.
But that's because
I still have a problem with feeding children chicken and waffles, and then you put sugary syrup on top of it, and then send them back to class. I have a problem with that.
Hey, look. You see, you're talking to see. Look, you're stating your grievance to the wrong person because I'm a breakfast guy. I will eat breakfast all day. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah. I'm also a vegetarian, so
right, I trust.
So they serve chicken. So let's say this: they serve chicken at school anytime. There's no problem. They serve chicken.
Right.
I guess schools that serve breakfast may have pancakes or waffles,
Absolutely.
but to serve chicken and waffles for lunch
that's
during Black History and watermelon, the whole combination. Okay, because chicken is a stereotype associated with African Americans as well. Now,
and guess what? We're not the only ones that love chicken.
No, we're not the only ones that love chicken, but we're the ones who perfected cooking chicken and seasoning chicken, and that is a byproduct of slavery. And a lot of the food that is associated with Southern comfort food or Southern food, a lot of that is food that African Americans perfected or African Americans enhance the flavor of it in the way that we season the food. And oftentimes we're seasoning the food in ways that reminded us of home, that reminded us of Africa. Okay. Because we were the ones largely cooking the food for the slave masters and the families and things like this. Right. So he goes deep back into that history. So we still haven't, in researching the story, we still haven't seen why the change was made. Why the change in the menu was made. Okay. I still haven't come across that.
Right. So that opens up the conversation. Like we're still trying to figure out who should be held accountable for this. But I'm going back to even this like you said, this cultural trope that we have been kind of stigmatized with, that Black folks only love chicken and watermelon. Can we break away from that? Can is this something like, is this still offensive right now? Because look, I love watermelon. I absolutely love watermelon. So
has very little nutritional value, but yeah, watermelon is good, especially on a hot day.
Right.
It's like 96, 95%, 94% water. Yes.
Right. But my point is like, should we still be offended by that?
If it's used in a way to dehumanize and demean African Americans, absolutely. But this deals with understanding history, number one, and having control of the media outlets, number two, to be able to fight back. Okay. And to be able to put that information out, to be able to hold people accountable and be able to fight back and educate people on what's taking place, educate people on the history of why watermelon was demeaned when we used it as a tool of self-sufficiency. And this is something coming from Africa as well. Okay. Just like black-eyed peas. Those were cowpeas. Cowpeas come from West Africa. All right. So there's when we get into the history of African Americans eating black-eyed peas on New Year's Day, yes, that dates back to after slavery, when food was scarce, like after the Civil War and things like this. But it was looked at as being fortunate to be able to have a meal. OK, but also cowpeas come from West Africa as well. This article that I just put here in the chat, people could check this out, how the watermelon stereotype came to be weaponized against Black Americans, November 13th, 2022, by businessinsider.com, insider.com. And it goes through some of this history, and it talks about I think it's in here. Yeah. The origins of watermelon can be dated back approximately 6,000 years ago, when it was domesticated through Sudan, Egypt, Ethiopia, Libya, and Kenya. Enjoyed by royalty like the Egyptian Nesubiti or Pharaoh or King Tutankhamun, watermelon soon made it to Rome and Greece, later becoming cultivated in Spain after the Arab conquest. You mean after the Moorish conquest, after the Moors invade Spain in 711 AD, led by General Tariq ibn Ziyad. So we see even a history here where watermelon dates back thousands of years in African history, but then also African Americans after slavery ends use it as a form of self-sufficiency because it was a crop that we sold to give ourselves some type of economic stability. So we have to understand this history, understand how to fight back against these racist tropes.
Look, we got to take a quick pause. We're going to continue the conversation because Online Culture Crew, I need to hear from y'all. Y'all talking about chicken. And look, a lot of black folks love chicken. And guess what? In whether it's LA, Baltimore, guess who's at Popeyes? It ain't just black people. It's Latinos and it's Asians and it's even white people. Let me just tell you, I wanted to have this conversation because do you think, folks, that Aramark has done something wrong? Do you think that that because of their pattern of serving chicken and waffles during black celebrations, black time of year, that it's just another racist situation? We're going to continue the conversation with Brother Michael Imhotep and certainly with you. So stay with us. It's The Culture here on the Black Star Network. Folks, welcome back to the show. We have been talking about the global food vendor Aramark and how they are in hot water after some have called their recent menu at the start of Black History Month culturally insensitive. This was the case when Aramark served for the first day of Black History Month a middle school, chicken waffles with a side of watermelon. Now, they apologize for their unintentional insensitivity after serving these chicken and waffles on the first day of Black History Month. But it has caused us to have a conversation about racist tropes, has caused us to have a conversation about food, and of course, white supremacy and racism. We've been having this discussion with my brother Michael Imhotep, host of the African History Network podcast show. And he's also the founder of the AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. And of course, folks, I want to hear from you, my online culture crew. What do you think about this Aramark situation? Now, Brother Michael laid out there were many instances over these past few years where Aramark has used chicken and waffles as a meal, a dish for the celebration of Black life, Black culture in this country. Is it by design? Or was it unintentional? Now, the other thing about this story, this latest story, is that the school, Nyack Middle School, said that they did not get any type of heads up. They weren't even notified that there was a change on the menu. And when you go back to what the children were supposed to be served on the first day of Black History, it was cheesesteaks. It was cheesesteaks. And Brother Michael is not happy about the fact that it was only like those type of foods with no vegetables. It was
cheesesteaks and broccoli.
Okay.
So they were gonna have a green vegetable in there. They were
gonna have some greenery somewhere. I want to go back to my online culture crew. Folks, join us. Throw your comments in the chat as we're streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, and of course on BlackStarNetwork.com. Sandy, you said, I think it was a misstep. Okay, I hear you. Here's the thing, Brother Michael. How is it that these companies as big and as Aramark, a company that has had this issue in the past, how are they still making a misstep, as Sandy calls it? How do they still make a misstep of this magnitude?
Well, I don't know how many employees that Aramark has. I know they are a huge corporation.
They have, and this is, we do know they have contracts with both the school system and prisons.
Yeah, they provide foods for prisons as well. And in a statement from Aramark, they said that they serve millions of meals every day, and our team does an excellent job meeting the needs of the communities we serve. But in this case, we made an inexcusable mistake, and we apologize. So, I still am waiting to find out why was the change made, who made the change, and why was the change made. And Aramark needs to be pressed on this. The NAACP needs to jump in on this. National Urban League. That we need to find out.
Press them on?
Say it again.
What would be the pressure? What would NAACP press them on?
One, we would call them out on possibly being culturally insensitive, number one. Okay. Number two, the other thing is like when we look at in 2018, the at New York University. Okay, February 2018, when Aramark served for Black History and out of Black History Month, they served ribs, cornbread, collard greens, Kool-Aid, and watermelon flavored water. Well, the next year, New York University ended its contract with Aramark, according to the student newspaper, to provide that university with food. Okay, so we can leverage our economics to enforce an agenda as well. The schools, universities, they could reassess their vending contracts to provide food that Aramark has. And a lot of times when instances like this happen, it's like when you had the is the company that licenses Sesame Street, and they had the instances of possible ignoring African-American children. And then other parents started coming out saying, hey, the same thing happened to my child. We may see some other stories about other schools where the same thing has happened dealing with Aramark. Okay. So we have leverage. We have leverage here. We have to understand how to use the leverage that we have.
That's true. That is very true. Karen, my sister, you checking in, Karen Connor, you said no company should decide which food should be served without asking by way of a vote by the parents and students. Soul food is delicious. However, Caribbean, African, and others eat different foods. Right. So let me ask you, and this is also the part of the cultural part of the discussion. And Karen, I appreciate you for bringing that point up, because if this was, I don't know, a day to celebrate Latin and Mexican culture, and they serve tacos or some sort of Mexican dish, would that be deemed offensive?
Yeah, you may have some in the Latino community, because that's a stereotype, eating tacos, okay, which is a Mexican food, and all Latinos don't eat the same type of food because they come from different parts of the world. They speak Spanish usually as a first language, but all Latinos are not saying you're saying this, but all Latinos are not Mexicans. Okay.
Right.
You had Cubans, El Salvadorians, Venezuelans, things like that. All Latinos are not Mexicans. Okay. So if you're celebrating and Latino heritage, and you serve tacos, that could be looked at as being stereotypical. So you're trying to stereotype all Latinos and say this is what they eat. Okay, so
but see, that's the thing though, and see, that's the thing. That's why I'm happy to have this conversation with you, Brother Michael, because it almost gets to the point where we're expecting non-living institutions, i.e., for-profit companies, we kind of want them to be human in their interaction with us, where they're just simply tools for capitalism. They are just profit-making entities, right? And we're like, no, but in order for you to get my money, in order for me to become your customer, you need to be more culturally sensitive to what my needs are. But I'm wondering, even in that effort, is it even realistic to have a company that gets it right with there's so many different people that are in this country, let alone in some of these cities and states, that you're not going to get it right. Now, am I giving Aramark a hook, getting them off the hook? No, but I think that it requires us to have some conversation about what is that thing we're going to fight on, and what's the thing we can be like, all right, let's just let this go. You know what I mean? Because there are so many bigger things, right, culturally, that we need to still deal with. And if you get caught up in saying, I'm black, I don't want no chicken, I don't want no Kool-Aid, when everybody in my network, black folks, say, yeah, I love chicken, I eat it all the time, I love watermelon. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
right.
I
don't eat chicken. I'm a vegetarian. I don't eat chicken. But so here's the thing. In business, there's something called corporate responsibility.
Okay, right.
And corporations do have a duty, and this deals with if you go to business school, you take classes like social ethics, or you may take some type of class that deals with corporate responsibility. They do have a responsibility to service and respect the communities that they're in and profit from also. And there's been more of an effort over probably like the past 20 or 30 years to really understand corporate responsibility and understand a relationship with the consumer, as opposed to just selling something to the consumer and reaping the profit from it. You have to also have some respect for the people who you make money from, and people who understand their history, culture, much better than others will hold corporations to a higher standard. They will hold corporations more responsible. Now, one of the problems with African Americans, because we've been largely stripped of our history and culture, language, spiritual systems, mores, folklore, family ties, nationality, etc., and we've largely been taught to see reality through the eyes of Europeans and largely taught to hate ourselves. The reason why many of our people don't fight back is because many of our people don't think they're worth fighting for. The reason why many of our people don't fight back, especially against white supremacy and racism of any significance, I'm not talking about marching, okay, but of really any significance, leveraging our economics to enforce our political agenda and redistribute the pain, as Dr. King said, April 3rd, 1968, in his last speech, I've been to the mountaintop. And we understand our economic power. If you don't think you are worth having anything better, if you don't think you're worth being treated better, if you listen to music on a daily basis that dehumanizes you, calls you an N-word, a B, an H, a thought, and things like this, you're going to be less reluctant to demand respect from other people.
Yeah.
Okay. Unless it's a march that happens behind somebody being killed by police, things like that. And that is important. But at the same time, we can't keep calling ourselves N-words and participate in behavior that dehumanizes us on a daily basis and then ask people to respect us.
No,
okay?
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
We got to have respect for ourselves first. And people who have respect for themselves, people who understand their history, they fight back when you have incidences like this.
So in Real Brooklyn, my guy, you brought up a point, and I had to just do a quick search. You said in response to Conscious Thought, you said a white dude owns Popeyes. What's your point? A white man by the name of Alvin Charles Copeland is the founder. He's a white male who's the founder of Popeyes. Now, Popeyes is branded as a Southern black company.
Well, yeah, because you're dealing with chicken, and they would have a black woman as a spokesperson. Louisiana Popeyes, things like this, and then Kentucky Fried Chicken had a white man as a spokesperson, Colonel Sanders, decades ago.
I mean, at least he was real about who brought the chicken.
Right, but we have to understand it was African Americans who perfected making chicken and seasoning chicken. Yep.
Here's the thing, and this is something that you just mentioned. You're right. Black folks, we perfected the recipe of fried chicken, but white people capitalize off of that perfection.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
White people understand the power of branding and marketing, and so to the untrained eye, you would look at Popeyes and be like, "That's a black-owned company."
Okay, I wouldn't, but okay.
No, I'm saying to the no, come on, brother Michael, you
right, but okay, right. I wouldn't think it's a black-owned company, but yeah.
To the untrained eye, you would think either the black woman is the owner or the black woman is a spokesperson for a black company, not understanding that these companies. And I think this is why I say this is the cultural part about it. We want to humanize companies that are set up to just make money. We're trying to humanize them to appeal to our own humanity. And I'm trying to figure out to myself if that isn't even realistic. Is that something that we need to get out of the behavior of?
We can hold corporations accountable, especially corporations that we spend hundreds of millions of billions of dollars with. And, and you have to do that. We have to renegotiate our relationship with corporate America to understand that it has to be. And this is something one of my teachers, Dr. Claude Anderson, has been talking about for years, and a lot of our people don't understand. So whether it's a two-way relationship as opposed to just a one-way relationship where we're just spending money with them. Okay. What percentage of the contracts do African American owned advertising agencies have with Popeyes? because we spend so much money with them? What percentage of their deposits do they put in Black-owned banks? What percentage of the contracts do African-American-owned businesses have with Popeyes, whether it's for delivery, whether it's suppliers, different things like this? People who understand business operate at a different level and go after the money. Okay, we spend this money with you on a yearly basis, and you know I've managed companies where we had contracts with charter schools for janitorial services. We've had city contracts, things like this. So people who understand business operate at a different level and focus on a return on their investment, and deal with renegotiating their relationship with corporate America, and understand our banks, our advertising agencies, our different businesses, catering services, limousine services. Those are all businesses, right? And they need contracts. They need business to thrive and expand. Okay.
And look, to your point, because we got to take a quick pause, but to your point, Brother Michael, that's the other part. While they are talking about, and I'm talking about folks that that founded these restaurants and these companies, they're going after the money. Yeah. We have been conditioned to look at how they make us feel, how, you know, the culture. So we're focused. We've been conditioned to focus on that part of their business plan. Okay,
what we see in the commercials, things like that. Yeah,
right.
Well, we have been taught to focus on the money,
on the cultural side of it. We're not seeing. We're not. And I'm not saying all of us, but some of us are not looking at that. At the end of the day, the reason that they make us feel this way, because the bottom line is to get our money.
Well, not only that, we have to reorientate ourselves when it comes to money, because if we are preaching socialism, you ain't going to understand capitalism. You're not going to understand how to take advantage of those opportunities and leverage the dollars that you make to take advantage of those opportunities.
And just to add to this as we wrap up, if we go to all of the companies, if we go down a list, we make a list of all of the companies that we buy our goods and services from, and we find that there's a white man, a white woman, white family behind it, we're not in a space, and unfortunately, we're not in the space just yet in this country to go totally black, right? There's no totally black alternative to Aramark, right? Because I think that's the part of us, and this is why black folks are in, I think for a lot of us, we're in a kind of a schizophrenic space, because we're trying to settle the cultural side of us, but then at the same time, we know that we gotta spend money. Right. We got to make sure that we get our goods and services. And so we go through this kind of conflict within ourselves. And so it's like you look at an Aramark, you're like, okay, y'all were wrong. They send out an apology letter, but you can't get around Aramark because they're such of a major company.
Well, we have to
unless you start packing your children every day.
Well, see, this is why we have to understand history and understand economics, to understand that we have to renegotiate our relationship with corporate America, to understand we have the power to be able to think on that level, to demand something more than what we have. And most people don't focus on, wait a second, how much money do these corporations spend on an annual basis on contracts? And then what percentage of those contracts do African Americans get? This is something that Roland keeps talking about when it comes to advertising. This is what a lot of people don't understand when it comes to Black-owned media. We're only getting a drop in the bucket when it comes to advertising dollars coming from these white corporations that we spend billions of dollars with on an annual basis. Other people don't tolerate stuff like that.
Absolutely. As we close, DeAndre, I think you said it best, and you just mentioned Brother Roland. DeAndre, you said, like Roland likes to say, Farajii, we put the show in show business. This applies to that as well. We like the show. They love the business. All right, folks, we got to take another quick pause. Right. We got to take another quick pause.
Hotep, hey, this is Michael Imhotep, founder of the African History Network and host of the African History Network show. So some of you all saw me on Farajii Muhammad's show, The Culture, today on Monday, February 6, 2023. And we talked about a story out of New York, and it dealt with the middle school where lunch was served by Aramark Corporation on the first day of Black History Month, February 1st, 2023. And the lunch that was served consisted of chicken, watermelon, and waffles. And we started talking about stereotypes of African Americans and how watermelon became a racist trope, a racist stereotype, even though watermelon dates back to about 5,000 years ago in ancient Egypt, ancient Kemet. And I talked about Black History Month and this year's annual theme for Black History Month, which is Black Resistance, Black Resistance. Well, I want to invite you to free lectures that I'm doing on Saturdays in February, 12 noon, Eastern Standard Time, dealing with Black resistance movements, and we're going to look at different Black resistance movements, which is the annual theme for Black History Month this year, and it's been an annual theme going back to 1928. Okay, we're going to look at some of the origins of Black History Month, and we're going to go and look at different aspects of history, whether we talk about the civil rights movement, whether we talk about abolitionists, whether we deal with Marcus Garvey and the Universal Negro Improvement Association. This is the official annual theme for Black History Month, African American History Month, Black resistance. So we'll look at Black resistance movements. We'll look at everything from Malcolm X and look at the Nation of Islam to movements of African Americans like during the Great Migration, and look at our history of fighting against white supremacy and racism, whether we're talking about the Black Power movement and the Black Panther Party for self-defense, etc. Okay, so join us on Saturdays or 12 noon to about 1 p.m. or 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Visit our website, The African History Network, theafricanhistorynetwork.com. You can register for these free lectures that I'm doing. We had a great presentation that I did on Saturday, February 4th, and that ended up being 4 hours. Okay, Saturday, February 4th, that ended up being 4 hours. And these lectures are going to start at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. If you missed the presentation that I did on Saturday, February 4th, you can still register for it right now. It's right on the homepage of our website, theafricanhistorynetwork.com, theafricanhistorynetwork.com. And we dealt with some of the history of Black History Month, African American History Month. We dealt with the dispelled a lot of myths about Black History Month as well. It was never designed to be the only time of the year that we study our history. We dealt with some of the history of Dr. Carter G. Woodson as well, and why he created Negro History Week, which started out the second week in February. Okay, so we went through and covered a lot of ground, and originally that presentation was supposed to be 3 hours. I was going to do 2 p.m. to 5 p.m., but we ended up doing 4 hours. So you can still go register for the February 4th free lecture that I did. It's on demand at theafricanhistorynetwork.com, theafricanhistorynetwork.com. And the reparations movement is a fight against white supremacy and racism as well. That's a type of Black resistance movement. And we talk about reparations, we have to talk about Callie House as well, who's fighting for reparations going back to 1898. And then join us Saturday at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time as well for the next lecture. So we'll continue in this series. We're going to do each Saturday in February dealing with Black resistance movements. Okay. Then join me at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, starting Saturday, February 11th, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for class number 1 of my new 12-week online class, Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Ma'afa, Understanding the Transatlantic Slave Trade, what they didn't teach you in school. So this is a 12-week online course that I've been teaching on and off since 2017. We deal with thousands of years of history and what leads up to the transatlantic slave trade taking place. We can't start studying our history in slavery. We first have to understand thousands of years of history that leads up to the transatlantic slave trade taking place. And we have to understand the 800-year occupation of Europe by the Africans known as the Moors, and the teachings from the Nile Valley region of Africa that the Moors take into Europe that will bring Europe out of the Dark Ages. So class number 1 starts up Saturday, February 11th, 2023. Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Ma'afa, Understanding the Transatlantic Slave Trade. You can register for that right here at our website, theafricanhistorynetwork.com. It's on sale $80, regularly $130. You can watch from around the world. We do sessions live. All the sessions are archived and recorded. And even after the course is over with, you can go back and watch it over and over again. So a year from now, 2 years from now, you can watch the entire class. Okay. Then starting up Sunday, February 26th, we'll have class number 1 from the Civil War to the Civil Rights Movement and Black Power, 1800 to 1968. And this was the class number 1 will start up Sunday. Class number 1 will start up on Sunday, February 26th, 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That class is the same structure, and it's on sale $80, regularly $130. Then free sessions that I did previously that you can register for and watch. And if you watch those free sessions, you definitely want to register for the full course. We have a bundle pack where you can register for both classes for only $100. So that's over $200, that's close to a $300 value, because there are going to be 5 bonus lectures that you get when you register for Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Ma'afa, Understand the Transatlantic Slave Trade. And one of those bonus lectures will include the lecture I did on November 19th, 2023, which deals with the new Black Panther movie, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. All right, so hopefully you're learning a lot this month. Hopefully you're learning a lot from the African History Network. Join me Saturday, February 11th, 2023, for Black resistance movements, the free lecture. And we have the information right on the homepage of our website, theafricanhistorynetwork.com, theafricanhistorynetwork.com. If you like this type of information, also you can support the African History Network, $ the AHN show through Cash App, $ the AHN show through Cash App, also through PayPal, paypal.me/the AHN show. This helps us keep doing the research, stay on the air, keep broadcasting, etc. If you want to advertise with the African History Network, email us at ahnshow@theafricanhistorynetwork.com. ahnshow@theafricanhistorynetwork.com. We have 3 advertising packages, and we can help you reach thousands of people across the country on a weekly basis. Listen to the African History Network show Sundays, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on 9:10 a.m. Superstation WFDF. And I will also be posting a article that I wrote dealing with the history of African American History Month as well. We'll have that on the homepage of our website also, theafricanhistorynetwork.com. All right. We have to get out of here. Remember, right now is correct wrong behavior. It's not over till we win. Wakanda forever. And we'll talk to you next time. Peace.